Good morning, guys. In this video, we're gonna get the second gen officially out of hibernation. I guess it's now March, and this thing's been sitting since probably mid-December. I took the battery off of it then, so we're gonna start by putting the battery on, get this thing outside and get it fired up. And then we're gonna talk about my opinion on the top 5 mods for a second gen. I guess what I would do to one if I bought another one. Just making a little video with the truck and get this thing out of hibernation. So let me set you guys up. Let's get this thing started. I don't like starting this thing in the garage because it throws soot everywhere. So what I do is I put the transmission in neutral, and then the transfer case in neutral, and then I push it out. I've always heard you're not supposed to roll these things in neutral and the transfer case not in neutral because it still spins the drive shaft. Am I overreacting? Maybe, but I'm not going to chance it. So I always do the double neutral just to make sure, which in this it's one click forward and we're in neutral. We're gonna have to get a little help from the little boost box. One thing about these Quadzillas, if you ever need to jump start it, make sure you unplug them. I guess when you jump start it, it fries the box. It actually says like in big red letters on the manual to not do that, but I actually did that and fried the box. So learn from me, don't jump start it with the module plugged in. But I'm gonna hook this up and hopefully we get fire. Right, Diesel? See how much dust is on this thing. Look at that. Sorry about the wind noise. Engine light, probably because the Quadzilla's unplugged. I don't know why the ABS light's on. Usually it'll come on every once in a while after it sits for a long time. Take it for a drive and it goes right off. So I'm not really worried about that. Oh, my AC's on. No wonder it was cranking some cool air out. All that dust. Okay, we got this thing back in the garage. Wasn't too bad getting it started up and out of hibernation. We just need a little help from the boost Noco Boost box, little magical fire starter in a box. But like I said, let's go over my opinion on the top 5 mods for a second gen. So let's say you're scrolling Marketplace and you find the most awesome truck ever existed and you buy one and you are financially regretting your decision, but you have a second gen. What do you do? So if you're looking at second gen, you've probably done some research and you should know from the start, the first mod you should do is an aftermarket lift pump. Get rid of the stocker before it takes out your VP44 and get yourself either a Fast or an Air Dog. I recommend an Air Dog 150, but the Fast is good, whatever. Just get you a lift pump. If you're not sure what it is, basically it will take fuel from your fuel tank and pump it up, pretty much lift it up to your engine, to your VP44, and you can mount it like behind the bedside if you want, or kind of in the middle of the frame rail like where mine is. Make sure you hang that sucker down as far as it'll go, the most obnoxious way you can. Hey, I'm in the middle of my video. Hang that sucker down. Let people know that you have a lift pump. Let them know that this thing's got fuel pressure. No, in all seriousness, don't make it look obnoxious. I've seen some almost dragging the freaking ground. Mine's tucked up as far as I can get it to go. And it still hangs down pretty good. But you can mount it further back wherever you like. This is just what worked for me, so that's where I put it. And if you're curious, I have the Air Dog 4G 200. And it's a beast. I never see anything under like 15 pounds at wide open throttle. At idle, I have it set at, I think, like 19, which might be a little high. But she's a beast. No complaints with Air Dog. It's actually my second one. I had an Air Dog 150, but when I switched to the 6x13 injectors, it was dropping around like 6, 7-ish PSI at wide open throttle, which didn't sit right with me. So I bumped up to the 200. And we're golden now. First mod, lift pump. Second mod, my opinion, is to do some maintenance on this thing. You're going to need to check all the fluids. I recommend changing the oil, transmission fluid if you have an automatic, check the differential fluid, check the transfer case level, check all those fluids, make sure they're dialed in. Because last thing you want to do is you want to blow a freaking transfer case in this thing and you're out $500-600 or whatever. Just check all the fluids, super easy to check. Also, these things are 20-some years old. You need to check those U-bolts. Whenever I put traction bars on this thing when I first got it, my U-bolts were smoked. Let me just show you something here. I no longer have the factory U-bolts, I guess bracketry, but similar design as this. The U-bolts come from the top down, run through this bracket, and this bracket is so bad about just holding fluid or water and dirt and crap. Whenever I took my U-bolts out, I mean, they chamfered down to narrow, no thread showing. They were borderline about to break. I remember I actually threw one on the ground and it broke. So do yourself a favor, check those stinking U-bolts and make sure your axle's not gonna fly out from underneath you going down the highway, passing Duramaxes, man. Okay, so you now have got fresh fluids, fresh U-bolts. Next, if you have an automatic truck, I highly recommend you look up the WT ground mod. Automatic trucks are bad about kicking in and out of overdrive and torque converter lockup on the highway. And what it is those are controlled by a solenoid transmission. And there's a grounding issue with these trucks, kind of from the factory. Even though this is a factory manual truck, I still did this mod just to make me sleep better at night, I guess. But what it is you have a couple grounds that come from the backside of the alternator inside this loom, inside of this loom. They're kind of all, there's like 4 of them. They all kind of connect together in one, like right here. And it's pretty much like hot glued together. Whenever I did it and I pulled them apart, they just fell apart in my hand. So essentially all you're doing is you're going to cut the ground kind of right here back, and you're just going to run it. You can either run it to the timing case right here, which a lot of people do, or what I did is I just ran it to this battery, which mine is this one right here. So yeah, there's just 4 grounds that come from this big loom down here. It's kind of fused to one, and I ran it to the battery. And that is the fix to your torque converter, kicking in and out, and overdrive in and out on the highway. Again, not an issue on the manual trucks, but it's still a ground issue. It didn't sit right with me, so I just wanted to fix it right. Okay, you got fresh fluids, you got fresh U-bolts, and you fix your ground issue. Last thing that you need to do is fix this crappy steering. Everybody knows second gens suck at steering. Fix it before it kills you. Mine, when I bought it, it had a replaced steering box. So it actually has the original linkage still and steering box, or I guess not original box, but it has still like original second gen steering. So it does steer like crap, but it's actually not as bad as I've seen some. So that's actually on the list for me. So I'm actually guilty of my own list, but a lot of people swap to the newer style, like T style, I think, third gen, fourth gen steering linkages. That's what I'm going to be doing, is swapping to that style. And then a lot of people jump up to that PSC steering box, which is what I'll be getting. Some people have good luck with the red top box, but I've heard it's not much better than factory for the money, so just jumped up to the PSC. So that's what I'll be doing. And then I'll also be getting that Thurin track bar kit because it looks freaking sweet. So my opinion, get the track bar, steering linkages, steering box, get that fresh steering, and make this thing drive like it's supposed to and not like a freaking hay wagon. But mine actually drives fairly good for still factory second gen steering, but it definitely needs an upgrade. Okay, so you've done the lift pump and you've done the maintenance. You can now drive comfortably on the road. Next item, in my opinion, is to get a decent chip. And I'm also going to combine this with an exhaust and an intake. So chip, intake, exhausts. My opinion on a chip would be the new Edge, hands down. I run the Quadzilla, and I actually wish I had the Edge, but Quadzilla's good too. Just find something that fits your budget and your style, I guess. But I recommend that new Edge. It has the CTS3 monitor, so it has all your gauges. I like the Quadzilla, but the whole phone as gauges is really what ruins it for me. I'm constantly like swapping from my gauges to my music, to whatever, and then it's just so frustrating. It'll disconnect, not connect, and then if I don't have good cell reception, it has some issues. And the chip itself, I've had no issues with, other than, like I talked about earlier, I didn't unplug it when I jump-started it one day, so it fried the freaking box. You can do the whole Smarty TST stack with. I'm not a fan of just stacking boxes left and right and whatever just to squeeze 10 more horsepower out of it, which along with whatever chip you decide on, get you an intake and get you an exhaust too. I recommend getting, if you're keeping the truck kind of stock, just one that's a nice cruiser and like maybe you work with it, whatever, just a 4-inch straight pipe. Throw a muffler on it if you don't want it to be super loud and drony on the highway. But I recommend getting a 4-inch, a 5-inch if you're wanting to do more performance side of things. And then this an AFE intake will do, or a Banks if you want to support Gale Banks. But get you an intake and exhaust with that chip, and it'll really wake the truck up. And just clean the truck up too. Those factory style intakes on these things are hideous. And really, I don't think they really do that well of a job anyway of getting this thing some air. So get you some intake on this thing, and then get you a new exhaust too. Get it from the turbo all the way back. Just replace it all. Because let's be real, these things are 20-some years old. Exhaust is more than likely rusted through in some spots, if not everywhere. It's probably not even exhausting correctly at all. So get rid of that stock muffler and just get you a decent exhaust in this thing. This thing has an MBRP 5-inch exhaust. They're super easy to install and require no welding at all. They're all just clamps and they actually fit pretty well. So I recommend doing that. It's going to do it for my third mod, a chip, intake, exhaust, all in one. Just get it all done right and have this thing just breathing, driving, fueling, all of that correctly. And one benefit, if you get the Edge or the Quad, is you have your lift pump gauge built in with your chip. So that kind of piggybacks with the first mod. Whenever you get a lift pump, you really want that fuel pressure gauge. So, you know, that Edge will show it. It'll show EGTs, boost, lift pump pressure, RPM, really just whatever you want. Same thing with the Quadzilla. They're all good, but I think the Edge just has that has the Edge on the Quadzilla with that CTS3 monitor, and you don't have to deal with connecting your phone. Just get a chip on this freaking dog, and then wait for the transmission to freaking blow into a million pieces. Which is my fourth modification. If you have a manual truck, get you a clutch. You're gonna need it as soon as you put a chip on this thing, because this thing's gonna come alive with a chip. Trust me. No, get you a clutch. I had it, like I said, this was a manual. I had good luck at first with South Bend 3250 organic clutch. It was a great clutch. It held everything I needed to until I started doing burnouts, and then I smoked it. It did not like clutch dumps. So if you're going to have fun with the truck, don't do the organic clutch. I recommend going to the 3600, the ceramic clutch. That thing is a beast. It handled everything I threw at it. Third gear, fourth gear. I mean, I had a S400 on this thing with 7x12s and the Edge juice with the hot unlock. And then I had the 3600, and this thing would freaking rip fourth gear burnouts standing. So, I mean, what more could you want? This thing was a freaking beast. And then if you have an automatic truck, you're going to get a built trans. And learn from me. Don't try to cheap out and get your local friend that does it for your other friend to do it and save $1,000 or $500. It's just going to be a headache. I had a local guy who did most of my friends' transmissions build mine whenever I did the 48 swap, and it was a freaking mess. It was breaking left and right. I put it in reverse and the stinking thing went forward. I mean, come on. It was welding forward clutches together. This was happening, that was happening, whatever. Just jump to a reputable shop. Get Fire Punk Trans, a Go-Ren Trans, Suncoast. Logan Built on Instagram does a good job, I've heard. I mean, really, just get a reputable transmission. To remind you guys what I have, this is the Fire Punk Comp 3. It has Sonex 35 spline, build intermediate. It has a TCS 29 spline output shaft because remember it was a manual truck, which you would need to work with the manual T case. So it has fat input, build intermediate, fat output, DPC triple disc, and it's a stock stall converter. I've had nothing but awesome luck with this thing. Okay, so you got a lift pump with a gauge. You've done all the maintenance. You put an edge on this thing. You got your transmission built, or you put the clutch in the ripstick. Now it's time to see something. So next mod is get some decent headlights and taillights so people know when you're stopping. Headlights change the look of these trucks drastically. So I recommend getting a decent set of headlights and then jump to LEDs. I actually don't have LEDs yet. So again, guilty of my own recommendations, but I'll be getting LEDs soon. I mean, these things suck from the factory with lighting, and heck, people with new F-150s they light up the whole freaking road. So get some decent headlights in this thing so you can see, and makes the truck just look so much better. I mean, come on, look at that. Just from simple headlights. So that's the fourth mod. Last modification for this thing is some wheels and tires. Here's the factory ones that I have. I mean, come on. You're not winning any shows. You might, I don't know, get the coolest grandpa truck at the gas station, but you're not going to win nothing with these. I only have these for the, I don't even know why I have those, honestly. But get some wheels and tires for this stinking thing. If you don't like the bro wheels, then just find some nice, like 20-inch Laramie stocks off of 4th gen. They look sick on these trucks. In my opinion, the best budget-friendly wheel for these is just 3rd gen stocks. The 5-spoke, they look sweet on these trucks. So my recommendation, find you some clean 3rd gen stocks or 4th gen like Laramie stocks. Throw them on this thing with nice tires. And these things, they come alive after that. If you're not a fan of your wheels sticking out 2 foot outside your fender like I am, I mean, just find you something that fits, that you like, that's decent. I mean, you saw those 2nd gen stocks, they're uglier than heck. Now you're just set. Enjoy the thing. Roast some tires. You got a clutch. You got a transmission. You got the new Edge or Quadzilla or the Smarty stacked on the Edge with the Quadzilla stacked on the TST. Whatever you do that makes it run, now go enjoy it. And it's going to look sweet. That's going to do it for my top 5 mods. If I was going to buy another second gen, which who knows, that might happen. Probably not, but it might. Just to recap, starting off, lift pump with a fuel pressure gauge. Number 2, some maintenance. Number 3, get you a chip. Number 4, get some new lights in this thing. Headlights, tail lights, cab lights, rock light. Not rock lights. Don't do rock lights. Some new lights for this thing. And then finish it off with some wheels and tires. And you have a freaking brand spanking new second gen that's never going to let you down. Well, it'll let you down, but what more could you want? You have a nice second gen now that's hopefully not rotted out, and it rides good, drives good. So that's going to do it for my top 5 mods for second gen. What I would do if I bought one or bought another one. That's pretty much exactly what I did to mine when I bought it. Let's talk just a little bit about goals. You need to establish a goal for the truck, what you want to do with it. If you're wanting to search for horsepower and explore that side of things, you know, start from the top. Get a higher gallon per hour lift pump. You know, I had bought the 150 and then outgrew it within a year and had to buy another one. And I had, I lost a little money there having to sell that one and then buy another one. So, establish a goal. Start there and this mod accordingly with the lift pump, with the chip, and with your built transmission. But at the end of the day, just enjoy this stinking thing. They're so much fun. It's awesome to work on them. I've learned so much from this one truck, and I've had an absolute blast modifying this thing, driving it, and yeah, breaking it. Honestly, it's been fun breaking it, learning what is wrong, troubleshooting, fixing it. That's just me. I like that side of things. I enjoy troubleshooting, find limitations of things, and that's why it's here, what it is today. But that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you for tuning in. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my list, and let me know what your preferred mods are down in the comment section. These are just, again, my opinion on the top mods. So let me know what you think, and I'm excited to get this thing out of hibernation and get to making some more videos. Hopefully the weather is back to just being warm again, and we can keep shooting videos. Stay tuned for the next video. Hopefully we can get this thing out some more. But thanks again. See ya.